this team. We've had 8 great COs before me, and I have very, very big shoes to fill. Like we said, we have Mr. Frank Bowles over here. 92, 93? 92, I don't want to.
Don't push it.
92 years old. Bob Loudon's here. We have the shoe here. Oh, Hugh's right in front of me. Hugh McGowan's here. John Gorman couldn't be here. Jack Cambria, unfortunately, couldn't be here. We have Dave Nielsen. Coming yet? We have Dave. We have Chris Zimmerman, Mike Falk, and then myself. First, we mentioned all these prior COs is truly an honor. All of these COs have kept the tradition of this great team alive. Each and every one of you contributed to the success of this philosophy that Frank and Harvey came up with 50 years ago that changed the way policing and hostage negotiations would ever expect. Frank Bowles and Harvey Schlossberg came up with an idea that changed the way we respond, act, and think at crisis situations. Today, 50 years later, we still use the same techniques that Frank and Harvey taught us. We have all adapted to modern policing with new tools and techniques, but the basics have always stayed the same. Slow it down, take your time to build rapport and empathy, and get all the people in crisis and the hostages out safely. And I must say, 50 years later, we have an excellent track record, thanks to the core of this team. Unfortunately, on May 21st, 2021, we lost Dr. Harvey Schlossberg. Harvey was known as the father of modern police psychology for his role in changing the tactics employed in hostage situations. We'll have a moment of silence in honor of Harvey. Thank you. As all of you know, the CEOs in this team have done a lot for this team. But the real heroes of the team are you negotiators. Every rank, lieutenant, sergeants, but especially you detectives out there. You've been going through and responding to these jobs for 50 years, day in and day out. And all the prior CEOs and myself would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Without you believing in this program, it would never have been so successful in protecting the people of New York City. So please give a round of applause to all of you. Countless lives have been saved. From newborn babies who can't do anything for themselves, to a suicidal person on top of a bridge, to a barricaded perp we had this morning, to one of our own MOS being taken hostage. It doesn't matter what happens, you get the call. You get the call and you go. You drop what you're doing, you drop working on your homicides, your rapes, your robberies, your grand larcenies, whatever it is, you go. And what do? You rush. You rush to get a car. We don't know how hard that could be. Rush to find a car. Rush to get your vest. Drag this 50-pound vest to the car. You rush to drive there. You rush to get to the door. And then you slow down. You get to that door, and you take the time to build a rapport and talk to this person rationally. You're able to bring their emotions down immediately just by the way you talk to these people. And I am fortunate to watch this magic happen all the time and see true heroes working, no matter what the circumstances are. We always get that baby out. We always get the suicidal person down. Any cops that were in there, we bring our emotions down, and we're able to work. And that's why each and every one of you are so special. Being a negotiator is not an easy job, nor is it for everyone. Unfortunately, I have had to turn down great detectives because they don't have the right mindset to be a negotiator. Every one of you negotiators in this room have a unique skill set. You all have to be able to talk to someone who is having the worst day of their life, and you have to influence them to have a behavioral change so we can gain their voluntary compliance. Easier said than done. We all know this, we've all been on that door. But I see you do it all the time. All the time, I see what great work you men and women do. I have a lot of outside agencies, they always ask me, how do you pick a negotiator? You have such a big pool to pick from. You have so little spots. Well, luckily, I've been in the NYPD Detective Bureau in every rank so far. And seeing you, detectives, work on a case, it's truly amazing. You start with nothing, you start putting the pieces together right away, gathering intel, information, evidence. And by the time you know it, you know who did it, where did it, when they did it, and why they did it. But one of the main reasons I chose all of you is you are all experts. Experts in human behavior. When I was in the 4-4, we caught upwards of 300 cases a year per detective. That means every day you're talking to supers of buildings, trying to get video, talking to witnesses. Then what do you do when you get home after working these long tours? You go home, negotiate with your wives, your kids. You're doing it all day long. But the best thing I ever seen you guys and girls do is when you conduct your video interrogations. This thing is a thing of beauty. You go in the box with cold-blooded murderers, scared kids who committed their first crime. And all of a sudden, 2 minutes into it, you're getting them to waive Miranda, which in of itself, these days, is a small miracle. It's different back then, for sure. Now it's a small miracle. After that, you're able to get these murderers, rapists, robbers, grand larceny schemes, intricate crimes. You're able to confess in detail how they did it and why they did it. And it is truly amazing to watch. And that's how I choose each and every one of you, seeing what good jobs you do and how you talk to people. It is no mistake that NYPD detectives are the greatest detective in the world, and you are second to none. I would like to personally thank every negotiator, past, present, for their dedication to this team and the people of New York City. I would also like to thank our friends at ESU. I don't know if anybody's here. Hey, listen, they're the best in the world at what they do. It makes our job so much easier knowing that they're going to protect us no matter what's behind that door. Anything and everything. Half the time we do not even know what's going on and what they're doing, but they're there taking care of it and making sure we're safe. Whether it's swinging off the 32nd floor to knock in somebody who wants to jump, or climbing to the top of the George Washington Bridge. They're always there, and we couldn't do what we do without you. So we do appreciate all the help. Again, I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy lives to come celebrate this momentous occasion with us. I'd like to thank the Police Foundation for funding this event and for their support over the last 50 years. Especially Susie Burnback and Paul Ryder for their funds to help us out. I'd also like to thank the outside agencies that are here. I'm not going to get them all. We have the FBI, U.S. Marshals, Nassau County, Homeland Security, Federal Air Marshals, Port Authority, Suffolk County, New York State Troopers, just to stay a few. But thank you guys for being a part of the team and helping us out whenever we can. We have our HT royalty up here in front of you in Table 1. Obviously Frank Bowles, 92 years old. Frank will never ever say no to me. I call Frank, tell him I have a class going, I have a conference, I have an event. Tell me when and where, Mike. And not for himself, he does it so he can share his knowledge with all of these negotiators. Every one of you in this building, in this room, knows who Frank Bowles is. And Frank, we all respect you, and we appreciate what you've done. Class, help us out with anything, any knowledge he has. We always appreciate that. John Gorman couldn't be here with us. He sends his warmest regards. Hugh is here with us. Hugh ran the team for 12 years. 13 years. And I'd say second longest tenured. So Hugh, thank you for everything you've done. We saw that great video with you and Greg Giovanni on 88. Unfortunately, Jack Cadria, gentleman Jack, couldn't be here today. He's in Italy, doing what he does best. But Jack was a pivotal part of this team. He's the longest tenured commanding officer of this team, and he changed, the way us into modern policing. So Jack, we all love and respect Jack. Dave Nielsen took over after him, continued the tradition going. He gave it over to Chris Zimmerman. Chris, unfortunately now works with the other side, Port Authority Police Department, but we still get to see him all the time. He runs their Special Operations Division and their ESU. We actually were together on a job 2 weeks ago up at GW Bridge, and he loves going to these things. He'll lie to them, we'll talk there, he misses it the most. This is what he misses about the NYPD, is going to jobs and seeing each and every one of you. We have Mike Falk. Mike's in the back there. Mike's one of the best squad commanders in the city. He was in the 6-7 squad for a very, very long time. Now he runs the Sparta unit, which probably everyone in this room has dealt with or he's helped you out with. We also have, in this building, Mr. Larry Haber. Larry and Frank have a very unique relationship. Larry and Frank met in a bank in October of 1975. It wasn't the usual way of meeting somebody. Larry was in the bank, he was the bank manager, and then named Cat Olson walked in with a rifle and a gun. Takes the whole bank hostage. Who comes up to save the day? Mr. Frank Bowles. Frank negotiated with Cat for hours and hours until everyone was released safely and he surrendered. To this day, they remain best friends. Frank's actually the godfather to one of Larry's children, and New York Magazine just did an article on them, on their long-lasting friendship and how it started. Larry also comes to teach new negotiators what it's like from a hostage's perspective. So all we see is our perspective. It's great to hear him talk of how he was feeling and how non-law enforcement was. So Larry, thank you for everything. Anyone who wishes to say hello to these agency legends, please do so. As they're all up here, if you just want to say hello, they're all up here with a wealth of knowledge. Again, I can't stress enough how much of an honor it is to work with each and every one of you. Just think about it, 50 years of this. Hundreds of thousands of NYPD officers. And the HMT has trained 817 NYPD hostage negotiators in 50 years. We've also trained 78 people from outside agencies. So about 900 people in 50 years. And there's a reason why it's each and every one of you and nobody else. Because you are the best of the best of the best. And we are the greatest hostage negotiation team in the world. We are the first hostage negotiation team in the world. And we're all going to keep the tradition going for another 50 years. Thank you for everything you guys do. Please enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.